Let's talk about 13-month calendar because I came across something and that was very interesting where every I think there'll be like there'll I forgot how it goes, but there will be 13 months and I think it was the first of the month will be a Monday and the last day of the month will be a Sunday, and there'll always be, I think it'll be about 28 days exactly in every month, was it?
Exactly right.
And the woman's moon cycle will hit perfectly on the moon cycle. And everyone, all the ladies will be in sync. It's amazing, isn't it? How the human body is perfect.
Yeah. I don't know if we want them all in sync because we'd have to avoid them for 4 or 5 days out of the month. That may be scary, especially if they create an army. We'll be dead.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, I don't disagree. So I started studying this, as you know, years ago, and the I haven't pinned down exactly where New Year's is. It's to me, it's somewhere between spring solstice, which was a few days ago, and even April 2nd that I've heard a lot of people say that. So we're doing a special on April 1st, a marathon that we'll talk about in a second. But let's just use some logic for a second. And this is what I like to introduce into the conversation. So, to give you an idea, there's August, September, October, November, and December. Let's just look at those months, right? August, if you look at the Latin origins of the word, that's aug, would be six. Yet August is the eighth month in our calendar. No big deal, right? But then you go into September. Sept is seven, yet it's the 9 month, right? October, oct, everybody knows oct is eight,
It's
yet
true.
it's the 10th month. November is 11, and December decim is 12 is I'm sorry, November is 9 and decim is 10. So it's very obvious that our calendar at minimum, Nick, at minimum has been manipulated by 2 months at minimum. But then if you really, really think about it, even the Bible states when people are traveling to Bethlehem, they were doing it when and the sheep were traveling with them. Well, people know if you study, the sheep never traveled in the dead of winter. They always traveled during the spring and sometimes the fall. So that would tell you that even Jesus's birthday is different than what we're told, right? Because of when the sheep were traveling. And then you can go in deeper. If you go and look at the one of the original, the Mayan calendars, the Chinese calendars, there's a whole bunch of old calendars over 5,000 years old, and they were all running on a 28-day month, just like you said. And 28 days can be very easy instead of confusing. By the way, I believe this is why they mess with the calendars, because they want to confuse us. So 28 days is very simple. Like you said, it could start on a Monday and it would end on a Sunday. So that means next month. So Mondays would always be on the same 4 days every single month. All the days would be on the same 4 days. We would never get discombobulated. And I think they want to take us out of rhythm. And then you mentioned the women's cycle. The women's cycle is 28 days, right? So there's something to be said for that. And then if you really look into uh, the Julian calendar, which is pre-Gregorian calendar. Now, both of them are manipulated calendars, but to give you an idea, is when the calendar was switched from Julian to Gregorian, Pope Gregory, it was switched over. You had people that were still celebrating New Year's when? On April 1st.
Hmm.
And that is why the origins came April Fools. The Gregorian calendar people would call the Julian calendar people April Fools. Well, so there's so much proof and so much common sense behind this. It's just time for us just to stop the manipulation, get down to the 13-month calendar, because everything would be in rhythm. People are going to say, okay, well, what would be the extra month? My research say that the month may be called Sol. It might be between June and July, something like that, and that's what pushes everything around a little bit differently. But it's so simple. And then what happens is once a year, you have what we call a day out of time. And that could be
Yeah.
actually that could be April 1st, and that's your day of celebration every single year, and that makes your 365 days. It's very simple. Then every 4 years, just to keep everything lined up the way it's supposed to be, you have 2 days out of time in celebration, just like a leap year would add one day. Same thing. Very simple, Nick. Very easy. Everybody knows how to operate on it. They don't have to try to figure things out. It's just very, very, very basic and it's simple. So I'm excited to keep pushing this narrative. And I can tell you one thing: when I started doing this 3 years ago, we had a few people interested and a bunch of wow moments. And now I'm seeing it all over social media. People are talking about this is the time of the real New Year's. So I believe it's getting a lot of traction.
Do you think we will ever see 13 months?
I do. I do. I think it's a no-brainer. And I believe everything's going to shift and we have to think about what are their purpose for changing the calendar. I think it's to keep us out of rhythm. Can you imagine? Does this have 28? Are we at 30 days or 31 days? I don't know how many days there are. Wow. Let's look at the calendar. What day falls on what? It keeps people completely out of rhythm. It doesn't even make any sense
Hmm.
whatsoever. So I think it's beautiful. I think it's God's way, and I absolutely think it's going to happen. Now, why would they want to keep us out of rhythm? Because the more we're out of rhythm, the less we can resonate and activate our pineal gland. It's just another obstruction, right? So we don't see what the baddies are doing. I'm so yes, absolutely. I think it's going to change. We have to push at it, and I've had conversations that there may be a couple of people with inside the administration that like this idea.